Hello, welcome back to the James Ramblin' Reviews channel for yet another edition where we'll be talking about House of the Dragon Season 2. This time I'll be talking about House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 5. Before I get into that though, obviously I won't give any spoilers on this episode, just my general thoughts and how I naturally felt as I came off of watching the episode a couple hours ago, earlier today sort of thing. But before we get into that kind of stuff, if you're wondering in this video, like, what's up with the light, why isn't there a big light on right now? So pretty much one of my lights popped out and I just haven't had the chance to fix it. There's not been a real reason as to why we've been able to fix it, so it'll be a bit off-putting, but bearing in mind that without further ado, right, let's get straight into this. I don't want to just be talking about a light bulb or something like that. So House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 5, right, so to get you up to speed with my thoughts on this show, just in case you're tuning in right now and you've not seen the other bits where I have talked about the season. So House of the Dragon Season 2, it has been very, very good for me. I definitely prefer it to the original season of House of the Dragon, because a lot of the stuff that's been happening, it's not like it's setting up stuff. There was a point where the events would happen right after each other. There wasn't so many big time jumps like the last season, so a lot more stuff was a bit more focused and it had a bit more of a direction towards it that had these events that would go on one after another. And there has been quite a lot of setup in this show. The first 3 episodes were quite slow, but then episode 4, it pays it off with a lot of action, and that's what I loved about episode 4. It was probably one of the best episodes in this entire season. So that once it gets to episode 5, for me, right, there was those times in this show where there was the slow points where you got to see how the characters would just talk and there would be these conversations and stuff like that. And for me, episode 5, right, I'm going to be honest, because for a long time with House of the Dragon, there's been points where I just kind of just say it's the best well written thing ever, because yes, at times it can be, but for me, I would say that House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 5 was kind of a letdown in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying it's the worst episode in TV history or something like that, but I just felt like we had so much build up to this action episode in episode 4, and then when you get to episode 5, yes, it kind of winds down and we're more than the events of the crazy stuff that happened in episode 4, but it just feels like we're going back to the same thing we did a few episodes back, where we're just having these characters and it's just setting up these moments and doing that kind of stuff. And I've heard that there's only going to be 8 episodes of this season, so my opinion on Season 2, it's at an interesting rate where I've loved these previous episodes, but yeah, it just didn't do enough for me to where I was yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I would say that there was good moments like Daemon, as per usual, he had a lot of witty moments, he was quite funny in a few scenes and stuff like that, but overall for me, it wasn't the episode where I thought it was the best episode in the season. And definitely with Season 1 of House of the Dragon, just to throw an example out here, so I'm not just talking out of my ass, right, in Season 1 of House of the Dragon, I believe it was episode 6 or 7, around that 5, 6, 7 mark anyway, you had a bit of a dull episode where nothing really happens, and just this one thing happens and it takes up the entire episode. And I felt this way with episode 5 especially. It kind of just has these things that are happening. Of course, every conversation in House of the Dragon means something because there's a lot of dialogue, and pretty much House of the Dragon is always about the dialogue and setting up the characters, but this episode, it just wasn't the same as the other episodes, so that is kind of my point on the episode. Definitely not as good as some other episodes I have seen. There's still some good moments with Daemon Targaryen in here and stuff like that. I still think some of the acting in this episode was very decent. It's just the way it was conducted for me, it didn't really sell it. I wasn't sold on it as much as other episodes, so there's definitely that. So out of 10, I'd give this episode a 6 out of 10 on what I say. And it does sound like I'm my expectations are so high that if there's nothing happening in the next episode, I'm just disappointed. But for me personally, I just love the fact that we had that 3 episode arc where it would build up to episode 4, and now we're just kind of slowing things down, and it just wasn't for me personally. And there might be people out there who disagree. It's like, oh James, it's supposed to be slow because you have to wind down. So that's kind of just my thoughts, right? I'm not supposed to love every piece of media that I watch, and that's pretty much the point here, is that sometimes episodes in TV, they're not always the same as other episodes in TV where it's going to have you super duper engaged for the whole time and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my review on House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 5. If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe, like. Also, keep forgetting to mention this, but follow us on Spotify, as I do actually post the audio versions of these kind of things. And for audio listeners, you probably don't really realise that a light popped out in my room and I can't really fix it right now, so hopefully in the next few reviews you won't get to see this kind of dark room as much as you haven't really been seeing for other reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, see you next time for another episode of the James Ramblin' Reviews, whether that'll be House of the Dragon, whether that'll be a movie, whether that'll be a TV show like House of the Dragon obviously. So yeah, bye. That's the review, I guess. See you next time. Stuff like that. Yeah, bye. House of the Dragon Season 2, bye.